It's no secret that I love switchblades, but what about frontside switchblades?
Well, if you watched my recent How to Switchblade tutorial, you might be familiar with method 3, which uses the front foot to pull the nose around and get a good rotation. And you might remember that I'm quite bad at it. Lucky me, that's the method I found to work the best for the frontside switchblade.
So here we have a regular switchblade where the switchblade rotates, the board rotates backside. It is a trick a lot of people can learn relatively quickly, but the frontside switchblade, where the board rotates front side in the opposite direction, is a lot harder. I'm not an expert in this trick yet, but I've learned a couple things recently, just really recently, that have really helped unlock the switchblade for me, and that's what I want to share with you. Because it does feel good. It's a very, very satisfying trick to do. So the first tip is going to be foot placement. So I like to have my front foot a little bit towards the heel side edge of my nose. I like to take my back foot and actually start it in the middle. So when I first started these, my first couple successful attempts were done from here. And then as I started to understand the trick, I could move my foot farther and farther away, and it doesn't really matter where the back foot is on this half of the board. I have a lot more control and I get a much stronger push when my feet are closer together. So that might be something to consider for you when you're at least starting, is to keep your stance kind of narrow, and then as you get better and better, you can move your feet out. Because, I mean, it's not that often that when I end a line or a trick, my feet are in this position. So the next thing we're gonna go over is the direction that we actually push and pull this board. Now when we do the switchblade, and when I said when we do the switchblade in the third method, right? I said that you could kind of grab the nose and pull it back towards you. Well, the front side switchblade largely works like that, except we're pushing forward, where you use the back foot to kind of start to get this rotation, and then you use the front foot to finish it off and push forward, and that's how you get that really nice crispy 180-degree front side switchblade. It's all in this front foot, pushing the board forward that last little bit. And you can think about it as pushing your toes forward. If it helps, you can think about it as pushing your heel forwards, right? I found that if my foot is too far forward, it turns, and then when I go to push forward, I don't have a lot of my foot on the board. But when my foot is more towards the backside corner, when I do that push forward, my foot is completely covering the nose. As opposed to if it was up here, it might slip off. I mean, if you have really big feet, you can probably just cover up the whole nose and it's not gonna make a big difference because your foot is always gonna cover it. But if you have small feet, like me, men's 5, then yeah, it will probably help you to bring your foot back to the heel side corner. The back foot kind of starts the trick, and I find that kind of almost in like a scooping direction. If you push from the tail or the middle of the board, if you push in this direction, almost like scooping a frontside shove it, then you really get a good start to the rotation, which you can then finish with your front foot. And so another thing to really watch out for when you're doing this trick in particular is obviously where your body weight is and where it lands, because it's super easy to be off balance when you land this trick. See how I was leaned back a little bit too far? You really want to be as over the front foot as possible when you land this. So you really have to think about where that front foot is traveling. So if I'm gonna push the board forward, I can't keep my shoulders back. I have to follow that motion. I have to follow my front foot. See how I try to keep my shoulders over the board? I think the last tip can really be how you do the push with the front foot and scoop with the back foot. And that's that I really try to contain my back foot. I try to have it like a nice small movement, even though my leg ends up over here. But what I know is that when I just really try to whip the board around like that, never works, ever. So even if I'm following through with this foot, I try to really contain the strength to a very short muscle movement, right? I just want to get the board to about maybe 45 to 90 degrees. And that's really when the push forward with my front foot can complete the rotation. I just want to get the rotation started. You can kind of try it slowly too. Just like, yeah, you can almost guide it forward. So guide the board over, right? And then push forward. And I would recommend doing that. Just kind of slowly guiding the board forward with your back foot and then finishing the switchblade with your front one. So even though it seems like this has to be a trick that's done really, really fast, you actually can slow it down quite a bit.
So this trick is a little tough to split up, but I think you can start to work on it in 3 steps. First of all, just try to get used to using the back foot to push the board over in front of you up to 90 degrees. You can do this slowly too, a really slow and controlled push or scoop to the side. Then you can start trying to release the board at 90 degrees and push the front foot forward to complete that rotation. Once again, just try to keep it controlled. A solid little scoop and release with the back foot, and then a push forward with the front foot. Finally, I would recommend to practice the full trick inside of a line instead of by itself. I find it a lot more fun to work on tricks inside of a line than in isolation. You get good endorphins from landing the other tricks first, and will be more likely to be in a state of flow and focus rather than frustrated with just the trick itself in isolation.
And I think that's it. Let me double check, make sure I got all my notes. So we got foot placement, direction, leaning forward, and then trying to really get a good control on that back kicking foot, the scooping foot. So after that, we just gotta practice forever and you'll get it. So, wow. Hi, goose friend. So good luck, and if anything really helps you get this trick, do please leave it in the comments so that we can all learn together.